Hello, fifth graders. In this lesson, we are going to learn about Earth's water. No matter where Earth's water is located, it is in a system called the hydrosphere. As we learned before, one of Earth's main systems. The hydrosphere can be divided into two main sections, salt water and fresh water. Our objectives throughout the lesson are to identify that most of Earth's fresh water is in glaciers, ice caps, or underwater, to explain that some fresh water is found in lakes, rivers, wetlands, and the atmosphere, and to describe how most of Earth's water is in the ocean. 75% of the Earth is water or covered by water. 96.5 of that water is found in the ocean. Only 2.5 is fresh water, but most fresh water is tied up in glaciers and ice caps. Therefore, only 1.2% of fresh water is found in the surface available for human use. It's important to mention that the world's population is 7.8 billion. So compared to that number and the percentage of fresh water available for humans, we should be very careful of how we use the water we have available. Earth's fresh water is not evenly distributed. Some areas get rain almost daily. Other areas are dry all the time. In places like Nebraska, people rely on water pumped from aquifers. These are underground water supplies. As you can see in the picture, a well is built to pump the water out from the underground. Worldwide, about 1 billion people do not have access to clean water. Another 2.7 billion people do not have fresh water for at least 1 month a year. To help solve the problem, people build reservoirs. These are places that collect and store water. If you notice the picture on this video, that's the reservoir in Francisco Morazan, known as El Cajón. Scientists predict that about 75% of Earth's people will have water shortages by 2025 if we do not change the amount of water we use. This is something we must consider, guys. We're only 5 years away from the year predicted, and we are already experiencing water shortages in our cities. Adding to the problem is water pollution and habitat destruction. More than half of the world's wetlands have disappeared. Wetlands are important ecosystems that can remove pollutants from the water. The images on this slide are very sad. The top images show how polluted water can get. And sadly, we also have an impact on this, because how many times have you opened the window of your car and thrown garbage out the window? I hope the answer is I have never done that, but we've all seen people do it. And all of these garbage that we throw out the window of the car, of the bus, or we simply not dispose it in the trash bin where it belongs, rain washes it down to rivers, to lakes, to the ocean, polluting the water that could be used or could be fit for drinking, for cooking, for bathing. Industries also pollute the water with their waste. And in the images below that, we can see the before and after of an area that used to be a wetland, and how humans build dams, or in this case roads, and change the ecosystem completely. So if we mentioned that 7% of Earth is covered by water, where is this water? And why are people having water problems when there's so much of it? Well, salt water makes up the majority of Earth's water, and many plants, animals, and humans also cannot use salt water. Although different sections of the ocean have specific names, they are all connected. Circulation moves ocean water around the globe. The ocean is Earth's main water storage and the primary source for water in the water cycle. We learned that in the previous lesson. The water cycle links the ocean to all freshwater bodies. So as I mentioned, if Earth has so much water, why do people in some areas have none to drink? Well, if you said or if you answered that people live far away from water and have no way to get it, you are correct. Sadly, there are areas in the world where people have to travel long distances to get a little bit of water. Ocean temperatures are determined by sun's heat and ocean's depth. Water temperatures near the equator are about 30 degrees Celsius. Polar ocean water can be as cold as -2 degrees Celsius. Surface water around the equator evaporates more quickly than at the poles. Deep ocean water receives less sunlight and is colder than surface water, even at the equator. Winds and waves stir up ocean water. Currents move water along the surface and beneath it. Ocean water is also moved by tides, or rising and falling patterns caused by the pull of gravity. The salinity in the ocean water depends on the amount of the amount of salt dissolved in water, and also on the temperature or how much fresh water mixes with salt water. And finally, there are some threats to the shoreline. So people throughout the globe have challenges in saving ocean shorelines. Building along a coast can cause pollution. Erosion and rising sea levels cause beaches to shrink, to become smaller. Accidents from ocean oil drillings, oil spilling into the water are also very dangerous. Birds, fish, and marine mammals and sea plants suffer from these oil spills. Polluted water from rivers or garbage dumped into the ocean can spoil shorelines. Tides and currents leave garbage and waste on the sand. The harder you work for something, the greater you'll feel when you achieve it. So I'm going to go back to the example or to what I mentioned about throwing garbage. Let's not think that because we don't do it, we won't make a difference. Everything starts with one person, so you can make a difference. And by watching your example, others can also learn.